I hadn't started my awakening yet, so when I went to university, I was assigned to a dorm full of alphas. All of them were tall, high-ranking alphas. The one I feared most was William, aloof, elegant, untouchable. I, on the other hand, was soft-natured to an extreme. He often ordered me around, telling me to do this or that. I never refused, until I began feeling physically off. Late at night, I curled up under my blanket, my legs tangled in it, biting down on it with my teeth. It was unbearable, my body weak, but my mind craving something to hold onto, some sort of grip. So strange. I started wondering if I was finally awakening. The doctor had said that even if someone like me did awaken, I might just become a beta. Betas aren't affected by pheromones, which would save me a lot of trouble and money, so I'd always thought it was fine. I'd never really worried about this kind of discomfort before, but this was the first time it felt so intense. I felt restless, desperate to do something. I bit my blanket. There was a faint, cold fragrance in the air. I couldn't identify the scent, but it was pleasant, subtly tingling my senses. The other alphas in the dorm were seniors. 2 of them were athletes and had gone out for a competition. Tonight, it was just William and me in the room. I didn't dare make a sound, afraid of disturbing him. It was late, and I hated bothering others. I don't know how long passed before the curtain of my bed was suddenly lifted. Oliver. A little light from a phone filtered through. I jumped, my eyes moist as I looked over. You okay? I heard you making noises just now. The room was dim, and William's features were sharp and unreadable in the darkness. I loosened my bite on the blanket, but the damp sheet grazed my chin. Flustered, I kicked the blanket back over me and swallowed hard. I am fine. William wasn't actually harsh with me. He just seemed a little unapproachable. Usually, he'd ask me for small favors, and I didn't mind helping. There was something inexplicably reassuring about having him around, and I was willing to help him because of that. Even though I didn't like admitting it, I was a little cautious by nature. People often said I was too soft, but in truth, I thought I was fiery in my own way. Really fine. He sat at the foot of my bed, and the air around him, somehow both comforting and intimidating, felt stronger. Since I hadn't awakened yet, I was basically like a beta. In theory, I shouldn't be able to smell pheromones, so I didn't think much of it. I nodded, worried he couldn't see, and lifted my head slightly, nodding again. I am fine. My voice trembled, soft and almost like a whimper. William's gaze was indifferent, but something in the distance, so late at night, sent a strange, chilling shiver through me. Yet this fear was different. I collapsed a little, making a faint noise that seemed especially loud in the quiet night. My heart pounded wildly. I tilted my head, unconsciously rubbing my cheek against the pillow. William saw it all. His Adam's apple moved, and his tongue brushed against the tip of his sharp canine. I'm a little worried about you, he said gently. Don't push yourself if your body isn't feeling well. Hearing that, I felt touched. Even my reply came out softer. I'm fine. Thank you, Senior. He hummed in acknowledgement and returned to his own bed. All night, I dreamed of being tangled and trapped, unable to break free. The faint, cold scent wrapped around me like vines. When I woke, I was soaked through, but my body felt so much lighter, a strange, wonderful relief. Exhausted, I climbed out of bed, rubbing my sleepy eyes, only to meet William's sharp, cold gaze as he stepped in from the doorway. I instinctively smiled, trying to sound cheerful. Good morning, Senior. His gaze on me was complicated, making me unbearably nervous. Part of me worried I'd disturbed him last night. Part of me felt uneasy under the way he was looking at me now. It was hard to describe, like being assessed from above, sharp, precise, almost predatory. I shivered inside, but showed nothing. Quickly, he looked away and walked to his desk. Morning. I bought breakfast. Here, one for you. William always gave off that unmistakable sense of authority. What he said, went. Before I could even think whether I should accept it, words of thanks slipped out. Thank you, Senior. He glanced at me again, his towering frame of 190 making even sitting down feel imposing. You're welcome. Bring your chair over and eat with me. Normally, I would have hesitated, but now he was calling me over. I froze for a moment, then reluctantly dragged my chair across, making a fake pouty face. As the saying goes, when someone feeds you, you can't say no. I didn't even dare refuse. As I approached, I caught that familiar cold scent again. Honestly, it wasn't William's fault. Pheromones are always present in tiny amounts in sweat, saliva, and the environment. His living space naturally carried alpha pheromones, but normally they wouldn't affect me. Last night, though, that sensation, impossible to disperse, surged in waves, prickling along my skin. My glands weren't fully developed. Most people who weren't differentiated at birth undergo a second awakening in adolescence. I wasn't sure if mine was just late. I'd never fully awakened. I had seen a doctor, my glands were incomplete but structurally intact. If awakening didn't happen by 20, intervention would still be possible. The doctor said I was likely a beta, so I shouldn't worry. But, can a beta even sense pheromones? Maybe it's his cologne. That could explain why I notice it every night. He is meticulous. He'd bought 2 generous breakfasts. I suddenly realized I hadn't washed up and was still sweaty. Senior, you eat first. I'll go wash my face and brush my teeth. Okay. William didn't look at me, his voice low. His long fingers were unwrapping the bag. Once I took a t-shirt and went to the bathroom, he slightly lifted his gaze, his nose twitching as he inhaled deeply. His Adam's apple rolled sharply. The scent of plum wine, subtle, radiating from him, was captured even from such a short distance, because he was alpha. He let out a faint chuckle, his eyes darkening. In the bathroom, I splashed cold water on my face, feeling the heat in my cheeks ease. Standing next to him had been nerve-wracking. He seemed so distant, so unapproachable. After washing and changing, I slowly emerged. To my surprise, he was still waiting, no breakfast eaten yet. I felt a pang of guilt. He turned toward me, eyes sharp. Come eat. I felt like some massive predator had locked onto me. My tailbone tingled, my legs wobbled. Steadying myself, I said, I am coming, Senior. William responded with a low, My cheeks burned as I sat, keeping my head down. The quiet made me restless. My legs brushed his, and I subtly shifted away. But our arms touched, and I couldn't avoid it. The cold scent drew me subtly closer. I turned my head, instinctively, and saw his cold, pale profile, so sharp and perfect that I was momentarily dazed. He suddenly turned, catching my gaze. A faint smile flickered in his eyes. My heart skipped. I quickly looked away, clenching my legs under the table. I felt a flush, warmth spreading through me, my eyes wet. Almost involuntarily, I looked back. Feeling awkward, I smiled, then quickly lowered my gaze. His eyes darkened, his throat rolling sharply. Some restless urge flared, as if he wanted to break something, but he restrained himself, turning his gaze away silently. He wasn't embarrassed. If anything, he seemed to relish the tension. The quiet allowed every small movement to be noticed. Every tiny action felt delicate and precious. William's lips curved almost imperceptibly. Already handsome, he now looked a little mischievous. After breakfast, I felt dizzy, flushed, almost drunk. I stood and bowed slightly. Thank you for breakfast, Senior. William quickly rose, catching my arms to steady me, brow lightly furrowed. Oliver, are you okay? I pushed him away gently, fanning my face. I'm fine, really. Just hot, a bit suffocated, a little weak. Back at my desk, I turned on a fan, trying to cool off. Oh no, am I finally awakening? By the time class started, I was completely normal again, and the other sense had vanished. My doubts disappeared instantly. I spent the morning lively and alert, then got a message from William, asking me to get an alpha inhibitor for him, since his sensitivity period had come early, and it had a plum wine scent. I knew inhibitors came in many flavors, but some special numbered ones required custom preparation. I thought, really? Plum wine flavor? Another message, the driver is delivering it. Please bring it to the alpha isolation floor. Then he sent the room number and door code. I worried for him, not questioning why he didn't just have the driver go up. The school had special isolation dorms for sensitivity and mating periods. Calling them dorms was generous. They were more like luxury suites, fully equipped, only affordable to wealthy students. Ordinary students didn't need such extravagance. I was glad I was an undifferentiated beta, no suffering, no unnecessary expenses. After getting the inhibitor, I brought some food to see him. Honestly, I felt like his gaze was ferocious lately, as if he wanted to devour me. But I remembered the saying, don't dwell on fear. I reminded myself to stay composed, but when he looked at me, I almost stood at attention. Only after check-in by the 24-hour staff and property manager was I allowed upstairs. At the door, I nervously rang the bell, then entered the code. Inside, it was quiet, making the back of my neck prickle. Some intangible sense of danger wrapped around me. I swallowed, whispering, Senior. Looking around cautiously, I saw a modest, modern living room. Minimalist, high-quality furniture, clearly designed for wealthy students. Senior. I closed the door behind me. A soft click, footsteps. I looked up, frozen. A tall alpha approached, noble and handsome, but with a metal mouthguard. It made him look colder, more mechanical, more intimidatingly sharp. It made my heart race. I felt nervous, setting the small cooler on the table. Senior, are you okay? Why, Why are you still wearing a mouthguard in the isolation room? He stepped closer, and the pressure was immediate. I widened my eyes at him. He held up his phone screen to me. I didn't want to scare you, so I wore it. My chest warmed. William might look intimidating, but he actually cared, bringing me breakfast, food, even picking me up in the rain. He really treated me like a brother. I just felt a little reserved around him, not as casual and bold as I was with other friends. Oh, okay. You don't scare me, I'm a beta. I smiled, handing him the lunch I'd brought. Just something from the cafeteria. Do you want some? William stared at me, his deep eyes sharp and dark, reflecting the restlessness of his sensitivity period. I froze. My hand recoiled, but he grabbed it. I stared at him, a little helpless. The alpha slightly lowered his gaze, tempering the intensity in his eyes, and nodded. I smiled a little, letting him pull me to the table. His hand was bigger than mine, wrapping around my wrist. It felt strange, making my face heat up. I wanted to pull away, but couldn't, so I pretended not to notice he was still holding me. He released my hand only after pulling out a chair for me to sit. I exhaled in relief. You might want to take off that mouthguard, it looks uncomfortable. Sometimes, I felt a little in awe of William. His presence was intimidating, even aggressive. Seeing him restrained like this made him seem like a powerful beast held back just for me. It was nerve-wracking. He seemed to consider it, then nodded. He typed for me to see. Could you help me? I rarely refused him, so I helped remove the slightly textured mouthguard. As expected, faint marks remained around his mouth. His skin was pale, his features sharp and smooth, brows cold, eyes deep. He looked like a satiated vampire, the leftover traces making him appear dangerously alluring. The familiar cold scent wrapped around me again. My legs weakened, my heartbeat raced as I put the mouthguard down. I knew I needed to leave, or something unexpected might happen. Yet that subtle scent was so comforting, I wanted it to soak through me. I know something's off, I thought, but I like being around William. Oliver. He smiled, gripping my wrist again. Why are you looking at me like that? He pulled me to sit face to face. My legs pressed against his, tight and unmovable, and I felt something stir in my chest. Ah! I looked away, blushing, my neck warm. I was just looking at you, Senior. William suddenly leaned close, our breaths mingling. I instinctively licked my lips as I heard him say, look at me with a tempting gaze. My eyes widened, moist with disbelief and shame. No, I didn't. I protested. Really? He murmured, moving closer as I leaned back. His lips barely brushed mine. I tumbled back onto the chair, my chest rising and falling. I tried to avoid him but couldn't resist sneaking a glance. I really didn't. I suddenly understood why I always kept some distance from him. There was a tension between us that shouldn't exist between brothers. His hand slid under my shirt, gripping my waist, lifting me onto his lap. Close. I trembled. You smell amazing, Senior. He froze at my words, then let the scent, his alpha presence, wrap around me. I grabbed his shoulders, letting out a soft hum, embarrassed and overwhelmed. The woody, cold scent seemed almost like a stimulant, my neck throbbing slightly. Senior, I shivered. I should go back. Logic pushed me to resist, but my refusal was weak. When he kissed me, I trembled violently. Everything was a mess. When we fell onto the bed, I had a moment of clarity. I had no idea how things had escalated so fast. Fear and excitement tangled. Even soaked, I let myself melt into him, clinging tightly. When he lifted himself, I thought he was moving away and panicked, crying softly, don't go. I'll listen, I'll obey, Senior. William's eyes instantly turned deep red. Alpha instincts, possessive, overwhelming, surfaced, claiming, controlling. But he didn't fully give in. He restrained his animalistic urge, pressing a silent alert. Before long, medical staff arrived. He held me wrapped in a blanket, pressed tightly against him. He didn't let go, my heated face brushing against his neck. His fingers pressed gently against my lips, stopping any sound. Both of us were flustered, his eyes and face flushed, yet his gaze remained fierce. I took a dose of the inhibitor, calming down slightly, leaning against William, forehead damp. I slept for an unknown length of time. When I woke, I was lying on him, gripping his shoulder, pressing closer. Behave. I don't want to push too far. What if you regret it when you're fully aware? Hate me? William said, but he flipped me onto the bed, a possessive gleam in his eyes. I don't want my wife scared away. The room was vast, luxuriously understated, bigger than the other suite. I was flushed from his kisses. Oliver, the doctor says you're awakening. Sometime later, he held me from behind. I clutched his arm as he touched the gland area. I shivered. He laughed softly. So delicate, can't bite too deep. Senior. My voice was husky, soft, almost pleading. I could sense my awakening. I'd likely become an Omega, but my rationality only let me recognize it. I turned to him, eyes misty, tear-red at the corners. Even saying, Senior, sounded like seduction. William lowered his head, nose brushing mine, lips barely touching. Don't call out. No marking yet. Wait until you're fully aware. Be patient. I've held back for you. Behave, okay. He always said this, yet the next second he would kiss me forcefully, restraining my limbs. A pretty female doctor finished extracting the pheromones and said, your glands matured a little late. Once your heat passes, go to the hospital to get a certificate and officially change your sex to Omega. Remember the physiology lessons? I was still wearing William's clothes, weakly leaning on him, shaking my head. I don't remember. Since I never had to worry about this before, I only understood it in fragments. That's fine, you'll learn gradually. Right now, your glands just started producing pheromones, so they might be unstable. This could affect your future heats. You can either take medicine to stimulate development, or use an alpha's pheromones and marking to help them mature fully. It's up to you, the doctor said gently, noticing I was listening obediently. William's pheromones match yours very well. Are you two a couple? My face immediately flushed. I lowered my gaze, embarrassed, about to deny it when William said, he's my Omega, and my roommate, Auntie. Auntie, a senior? I felt mortified. After this unexpected awakening, we had done almost everything except the last step. I didn't know how I'd face him later. Oh, the doctor teased, then straightened. Your compatibility is actually quite high. This awakening was probably triggered by daily pheromone exposure. My recommendation is to let William help you. I frowned. Triggered by pheromones? Doctor, what does that mean? William's eyes flickered but he didn't speak. The pheromones you match with helped your glands fully awaken. It's a good thing. Otherwise, waiting for hospital intervention could be rough. Awakening is inevitable. It won't fail just because it's late. Without guidance, a sudden surge could leave you passive, she explained. Oh, I get it, I thought. Like now, being an Omega, shamelessly leaning on William, imagining doing this with a stranger alpha is terrifying. Lucky it's William. The doctor gave a few more instructions, then left with her assistant. I glanced at the alpha beside me, blushing. Thank you, Senior. Thanks to his pheromones, I was helped. William's brows were stern. His voice was calm. Don't mention it. It's my fault for having you deliver the inhibitor, almost marking you for life, and doing so many excessive things. I'm glad you're not angry. I lowered my head awkwardly. Even after being completely honest with him, and having gone that far, just thinking about it made me embarrassed. I didn't feel wronged though. William, though an alpha, had been influenced by me too. It was mutual, and I felt a little guilty. I'm not angry. And actually, I liked it. I felt a bit weak, addicted to this closeness. Maybe because my heat hadn't passed yet, I had this instinctive attachment to the alpha who marked me. William lowered his head, pressing his nose against my neck. Good. Smell me well, Oliver. Blushing, I obediently lifted my head, letting him. Back at school, my relationship with him became delicate. Although William called me his Omega, we weren't officially a couple. It made things awkward. I moved into the male Omega dorm and called my parents. They were concerned, giving me extra living expenses for a month, so I wouldn't skimp on inhibitors or patches. William helped move my things and set up my bed. The other Omegas knew him, top alpha at Imperial University, famous across the campus. Everyone was curious about our relationship. I wasn't sure either. At night, after the library, he would grab my hand and lead me to the nearby lawn, the paths and greenery crisscrossing. He'd pin me against a secluded tree trunk, licking my neck. When his sharp canines brushed against me, my whole body tensed. He released a trace of pheromones to calm me. I trembled. He rewarded me with a kiss. Good boy. My legs weakened, pheromones mingling, I felt tipsy. Plum wine scent, William murmured, licking his sensual lips. Can you feel it? I froze, touching my glands. So hot. My pheromones? I can feel a little. Strange, can I get drunk off my own scent? No wonder I felt powerless every time. William's tall frame almost enveloped me, giving a comforting, secure feeling. Watching me think, he thought I was adorable, stroking my flushed cheek. We'll check again at the hospital in a few days. I blinked, lowering my gaze. Okay. His hand slipped under my sweater, around my waist. Can I kiss you? He asked softly. I didn't raise my eyes, but nodded slightly. William immediately pressed his lips to mine, claiming and conquering. Clothes rustled. My heart raced. Oliver, I like you, he confessed deeply. I really like you. My chest jumped. I tilted my head back, lips parted, pressed firmly into his embrace. Listening to his heavy breathing, I noticed the faint curve in my eyes, thinking he looked a little flustered. "Sorry, it's inconvenient outside," William said, calming down a bit, turning to kiss my ear. "After you moved, I wasn't used to it at all. I might move out in a few days." I grabbed his waistband. "Ha!" Suddenly, William then asked, "Oliver, do you think I treat you this way because of pheromones?" I looked innocent, as if to say, "Isn't that true?" William glanced sideways, noticing someone walking past. He held my hand and led me inside. "It's because you're Oliver that I feel close to you." I followed, staring at his perfect profile, pressing my lips together. Quietly, I asked, "But, why?" He heard me and slowly intertwined our fingers. "Junior, don't you know you're really cute?" After he said that, the back of his ear warmed. "Some people just make you want to pay attention from the first time you meet." I felt a little embarrassed, mumbling and uncertain. "Oh, a little self-conscious, I guess." Back in the dorm, a few roommates crowded around, asking if I had gone on a date with William. I thought for a moment, then nodded. Where? They asked excitedly. "At the library," I answered honestly. "And the little forest spot, better not to mention that." After washing up, I lay down chatting with William, barely able to hide the smile tugging at my lips. That weekend, my pheromones were stable, so I didn't go back to the hospital. Instead, I helped William move and had a meal with my previous roommates. They knew I had awakened as an Omega and noticed the inhibitor collar around my neck. Still, a little awkward, they asked, "You guys?" William boldly admitted, "I'm pursuing Junior Oliver." The roommates' eyes darted between us before one of them exclaimed, "I knew something was off. You weren't calling him Oliver every day for nothing. No wonder he always has your scent." Another roommate nudged him. "Beast, even Junior can go all in." William glanced at them calmly, giving no comment. I felt a bit awkward. "I'm only a year younger than you," I said. William smirked, thinking I was defending him, and offered me some food. I looked up at him, eyes curved. "Thanks, senior." I felt a bit full. After dinner, we went to his house, which was fairly close to campus. He said he'd bought it a while ago, and it was spacious. I looked around, wondering how to bring up leaving. I didn't want to, but also knew I should. Was it the marking influencing me? I didn't know why I liked being with William. Before, I feared him. His presence was strong, making me follow him instinctively. Now I wasn't as scared, but my eyes still tracked him. Maybe I was a little flustered, having been kissed and touched by him so comfortably. A sudden kiss on my cheek made me look up. His eyes were smiling. "You haven't seen the bedroom yet." Realizing something, I felt nervous as William guided me there. Opening the door, I froze. The room was huge, with a plush carpet and warm, cozy decor, not exactly William's usual style. The bed was covered in rose petals, and a massive bouquet dominated the room. I'd only ever seen something that big online. The table had many gift boxes, at least 10, and I even saw my favorite mecha model. William seemed a little nervous. "They're for you. It's okay if you don't like them." I blinked, warmth in my eyes. "I like them." He chuckled, taking my hand to kiss it, then produced a jewelry box with 2 simple rings. My Adam's apple bobbed as I looked at him, eyes slightly wet. "Oliver," the alpha said softly, "shall we officially be together? I like you, really like you, and I like thinking about doing so many things together in the future." His dark eyes were filled with possessiveness. "I'm not just a perfect partner." He was patient and gentle, gradually drawing his Omega into his nest. Captured, William was willing to show a part of himself because later, his Omega would notice his strong, possessive side. "And you? Would you like me, just like me, not because of pheromones?" I was nervous. He was even more so. What if we were only together because of the pheromones? But thinking further, William realized, so what if it was pheromones? It was still his. His gaze deepened, his presence aggressive, and he moved closer to me. There was a forceful pressure. I'd never really thought of William as gentle, but now, after the confession, I couldn't deny I was happy. I asked clearly, "And you? Are you only liking me because of pheromones?" He looked down at me, eyes soft and affectionate. "No." My eyes curved. "Good. Then I like you." William was so sweetly overwhelmed, almost losing control of his pheromones. He had already marked me back when I was still a beta, thinking, if Oliver knew the truth, would he want to run? He took off a ring and held my hand. I instinctively straightened my fingers and sneaked a glance at him. William smiled, slowly sliding the ring onto my finger. I thought for a moment, then took off the slightly larger ring and placed it on his middle finger. "No one has confessed to me before, and now I have to wear a ring," I said, feeling a little sweet inside. William gently pinched my cheek. "I planned this as a process, though I think it's a bit casual." Next time, I'll make it better, okay? No need, I kissed his cheek. I've already agreed to date you. William thought his Omega was adorable and sweet, and he kissed me. After officially becoming a couple, William grew increasingly possessive. Anything involving me had to be under his control. He wanted to saturate me with his pheromones, leaving no trace of other alphas. Sometimes it was too strong, the inhibitors couldn't mask it. Some classmates noticed, giving me strange looks, though my social standing was decent. They warned me my alpha's pheromones were intense. I blushed fiercely. Because I was timid, sometimes confused, I gently communicated with him at home. Brother, can you lessen your pheromones next time? Today, someone noticed in class. So embarrassing. William suddenly cupped my face. Are you angry? I honestly shook my head. Couples will have moments like this, but don't do it next time. Others might think I'm improper. He looked at my slightly furrowed brows, sensing complete trust and care, then said, I'm sorry. I blinked. It's okay. Recently, we've been kissing and hugging but haven't crossed major boundaries. At home, my pheromones sometimes seep out unconsciously. Initially, I'd feel tipsy like being drunk, but now I was used to it. Just a slight flush on my face, nothing serious. Near the end of the semester, I stayed on campus. Luckily, the dorm had heating, though it was a bit cold going out. After exams, I stayed in the capital to have fun. William coaxed me to stay at his place. He hadn't lied, his parents were on a business trip. With the housemaid and servants there, I still felt awkward. Coming back from outings, I barely left his bedroom. William, almost a junior, was gradually taking over his family business. After reviewing a project, he found me lying on the bed playing on my phone and lay down beside me, kissing my face little by little. I laughed and dodged, but he gently pinned me to the bed. Our eyes met, lingering and entangled. I never expected we'd end up causing such a huge mess. So embarrassing. It was just youthful impulsiveness, two young men, one alpha, one omega, getting close and touching each other. It was inevitable that things would escalate. William had actually restrained himself for a long time. Now that my pheromones were stable, he cupped my face and asked, Is this okay? Surrounded by the scent of his life, his handsome face so close, I nodded. And so, two inexperienced boys couldn't hold back, and things went a bit too far. We directly entered the sensitive and mating phases. For 4 or 5 days, I didn't leave the house. Only William, exuding that sharp, cold aura, came out to get food and supplies. The housemaid was concerned but knew the young master was usually mature and responsible, so she didn't ask further. A couple of days later, his parents returned. Learning that their son had brought his Omega home, his mother quickly arranged tickets for me and even brought gifts. She understood her son, serious in everything he does. Once he cared about someone, he was committed. They didn't worry about the future. As adults, support was enough for now. That night, in the hospital room, their son looked tense and cold, while on the bed lay a very tired yet straining Omega, waiting for the doctor's assessment. Beside the bed sat the doctor's younger sister and a colleague, a leading expert in pheromones. Why did you come back? The doctor asked. His mother asked worriedly, we were concerned about the two kids. Are they okay? What happened? Elijah, a famous pheromone specialist, explained, nothing serious. Looks like they overdid it. This Omega's pheromones, plum wine scented, triggered an unusual reaction. Usually, pheromones and alcohol are separate issues, but in rare cases, it's possible. He got so overwhelmed that he passed out. With his parents present, I wanted to bury my head in the blanket, so embarrassing. How could I be so shameless? His father, imposing and stern, glared at his son, taller than himself. This is reckless. His mother nudged him. Quiet. Fine, he would stay quiet. Elijah examined my glands, hesitating slightly. It looks like your differentiation hasn't been long. Your glands were forced into maturity early. Were they stimulated by an alpha's pheromones before? My eyes were red. I shook my head but nodded at the same time. Not really, but I'd often smell William's pheromones. I thought it was just cologne. Elijah glanced at the tall alpha beside me. William's sharp eyes and serious expression made him look intimidating, but his tone was polite and calm. We used to be roommates. Our beds were on the same side. At night, I could sometimes smell a hint of plum wine pheromone interfering with me. I might have unconsciously released a bit of alpha pheromone. Elijah adjusted his silver-rimmed glasses. It's fine. This is due to your high pheromone compatibility. The interaction, combined with this young Omega experiencing secondary differentiation, actually helped the process. For future intimacy, take care not to be too intense. Progress gradually to allow desensitization. With so many adults present, I was mortified. My whole face burned red. William acknowledged the advice, asked a few questions, and then sent everyone out. "You scared me," he said afterward, holding me, still flushed and on the verge of tears, in his arms. "You were sleeping so deeply, no matter what I did, I couldn't wake you." Actually, his aunt had checked on me yesterday, saying it was fine, but William wasn't convinced. Today he had brought me for an official checkup. Now he finally felt relieved. I clutched his shirt. "I want to go home, William." So embarrassing. He needed some time at home to recover from this incident. William was silent for a moment. "Baby, this time, I might not be able to call the shots." I looked at him, confused. Indeed, that night we got home, William had received a lecture at home, but he clearly wasn't satisfied. After enduring his father's scolding, he insisted on moving out. His father nearly fell back in shock. "You haven't even grown all your feathers yet and already want to fly." William remained calm. "I've already taken over some company affairs and handled them well. I'm in my second year of college, dating is normal and fits my plan." "Dad, you and Mom just scared Oliver." His father's expression had been stern. He was a business tycoon, after all, and a frown like that was intimidating. "A bit guilty," he muttered, "such a timid nature." Slap! His mother smacked him. "Quiet." Her presence was strong, but gentle toward the younger generation. "I'm not being old-fashioned. Oliver is an Omega. You can't just act recklessly." William hadn't anticipated this. He responded solemnly, "I'll be more careful next time." "All right. Anyway, you're both grown-ups. About moving out, you and Oliver discuss it yourselves." William nodded and smiled at his mother. When he returned to the room, I was still buried under the blanket. He scooped me up, pinched my cheeks, kissed me, and held me close. "Baby, I want to confess something to you." Being held by him calmed me. It wasn't so embarrassing anymore. After all, the doctor and his parents treated us kindly as their juniors. I chuckled softly. "Go ahead." William looked into my eyes. "I'm not as good as you think. I deliberately left some pheromones on you back then. Maybe that's why it drew out your pheromones, which in turn triggered your secondary differentiation. That's also why your body responded unconsciously. The pheromone compatibility was a chain reaction that came afterward." I froze for a moment, processing his words. William touched my face. "It wasn't that your differentiation caused my pheromones to run wild. My pheromones triggered your secondary differentiation, which is why they intertwined with yours. I noticed it from the start and let it happen, testing you. I didn't expect it would directly lead to your differentiation. It wasn't much, just an unconscious display of possessiveness. Everyone gets a bit of pheromone influence in daily life, but William had a habit of masking others' pheromones with his own, dominant behavior. Yet he didn't try to shirk responsibility or hide his feelings. No wonder I'd always dreamed of being entangled at night, feeling drained and empty afterward. I got a little angry. I was a beta back then." William's tone became humble, but his gaze was sharp. "Yes, a beta. You didn't notice I left pheromones on you. Alphas are always assholes. If we like someone, we mark them. Maybe my beta-level pheromones contributed, maybe not. But William thought that even if I was a beta, I would be his. He would go to any lengths to get what he wanted. Yet he softened when necessary. When I lost control, he stayed alert, testing how much I truly liked him. He was really cunning, so good at handling someone in his arms. I didn't know exactly what he was thinking or testing, but I knew I should be a little angry. Thinking it over, I said, "The doctor said I was meant to differentiate anyway. Sometimes I unconsciously leave omega pheromones on you too, hair, neck, clothes." I leaned closer, wrapping my arms around the alpha's neck. "Then, how much do you like me?" "William, you need to like me enough to be a little bad to me." My face heated instantly. Feeling embarrassed, I buried my head in his shoulder, laughing. William's heart melted. We messed around a bit before he suddenly said, "I love you." I jumped up, propping myself up to look at his handsome face. Saying it like that feels so romantic. I lowered my head and kissed him. William felt his heart stir, desire surging. He returned the kiss with force, claiming and holding me. I stayed a few more days. His parents treated me like a cherished junior and even suggested meeting my parents sometime. No pressure, just showing their care. William escorted me home. My parents, knowing our situation, couldn't hide their surprise seeing my tall, handsome alpha. My mom's usual stoic expression melted within a minute. She happily let him stay a few days. On the day we left, I ended up going back with him again. Winter passed, spring came, and years went by.